What if XCOM 2 took its stealth gameplay and fleshed it out into an entire feature suite that players were expected to work around and play with to maximize advantages in combat? Sound insane? Maybe. And yet that's where Cybernight's Flashpoint has not only staked its claim, but massively excelled at it, which is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman, and welcome back to the channel. Hello everyone, if you enjoy what I do, including my ongoing coverage of the turn-based strategy or turn-based tactics genre, then a like on this video and a subscription to the channel would be very much appreciated. Thank you so much. Also, we have two other things to shout out really quick. It is currently Turn-Based Thursday Fest. If you're not aware of what the fest is, very briefly, it is a time where a bunch, and I mean a bunch, of different developers, players, and members of the community can come together, get some sales, talk about what it is that they're developing, what's coming in the near future, and generally celebrate one of the best genres in gaming, even if it is still very niche. Cyberknights is part of the fest this year, as am I, as a featured creator, and all week we're going to be talking about different games and the genre in general. If you want to check out those sales and what else is going on with the fest, I will have a link to the Steam page for it in the description down below, and also, if you do wind up enjoying this video, we will be streaming Cybernight's very shortly after when this video goes live, so you can check out the channel, make sure that you subscribe, have notifications turned on, so when we do go live, you can come in, hang out, talk about the game, and generally have a good time. Bring your popcorn, bring your drinks, it should be fun. So the general informative stuff out of the way, what exactly is Cybernight's Flashpoint? Well, as I mentioned, it's basically XCOM 2. But make it cyberpunk, and also kind of Metal Gear Solid / Splinter Cell, and that might sound like a very strange conflation to make, but as soon as you see this game, you'll understand exactly why I do so. Cybernight's, developed by Trace Brothers, has your standard suite of turn-based tactics, cover-based shooting, right? You have ammo counts, you have different weapon types, you have a small squad of 4 units that you're able to put out onto the field, different enemy types have different abilities, you have different abilities, there's deployable equipment, you probably have experience with this type of game. However, rather than just being a direct combat-focused title, Cybernight's has a major focus on stealth and hacking because you're running a small mercenary company against what is very often either huge criminal conglomerates or megacorps, and neither of them are going to be too afraid of taking you on in a shootout. So you need to know when and where to actually pop off a shot versus trying to sneak around the enemy and hack into some systems to get some loot or turn off cameras. I can tell you from experience, while Cybernight's Flashpoint is good about saying, hey, if you want to go in guns blazing and fight it out, you certainly can, it is by far not the most optimal way to play based on my experience with the game thus far. When you have the opportunity to do so, you want to take advantage of the stealth systems and hacking to make an advantageous situation for yourself before you jump in and start blasting away with shotguns, assault rifles, and the like. It makes for a very interesting and very compelling gameplay loop that did take me a while to get into. There's a definite learning curve here, but now that I am into it, I'm extremely eager to play a lot more. If at any point during this video you too get interested and want to check the game out for yourself, I will have a link to its Steam page in the description down below. And until March 16th, 2026, due to the Turn-Based Thursday Fest, there is a 25% discount for the game, making it $22.50 US. If you want to pick it up, now is a very good time to do so. Not sponsored or anything, it's just part of the fest, and may as well get you guys a deal when and where I can, you know? As per all of my overview videos, I want to break down the major aspects of the game for you now that we've gone over a general overview of what it is. I want to talk mechanics, visuals, OST and SFX, my overall impressions, and then wrap up by asking you guys what you think of this game if you've played it before or are going to check it out now. As such, let's talk about those mechanics. Right when you load into Cybernight, it's going to give you a lot of tutorialization, and that tutorialization is dense but very important. There are a lot of systems layered on top of each other here. Security alerts, stealth, hacking, looting, different types of movement, different types of automatic or semi-automatic fire, and that's before we even get into base management, character customization, and the like. If you like a dense, mechanics-laden game, Cybernight's is absolutely going to deliver on that front for you, but it again does contribute to that overall learning curve that I mentioned previously. Without getting too deep into any one facet, when you start up the game, you'll be given the option to choose a few different types of campaigns, as well as a few different types of party loadouts, or completely customize your crew from the ground ground up, which is what I did. There are a number of different class types here, all of which can be crossed over and modified and mixed in all sorts of different ways, and the backgrounds that you choose and weapon types that you pick up will have a major impact on the way each individual character or unit plays out. Regardless of how you choose to set up your team as individual units, however, you generally have certain different roles that will be filled out. A few different combat specialists, a hacker, a face or sort of representative of your mercenary company, etc. Each of these will have different overall strengths and weaknesses based on the backgrounds and other story details that you chose for them, and there is plenty of variety in each of these overall categories to let you have a little bit more customization over how these characters are kitted out. For me, I chose to make my character as frontline combat oriented as I possibly could, as when things hit the fan, you do want to be able to have a character who can stand on the front line and deliver absolute hellfire to whatever decided to get in your way that day, and it's definitely worked out for me thus far. Once you get past overall crew building and character customization, things will become more familiar to anyone who knows games like XCOM. You have grid-based maps with cover, various different objectives that you need to achieve, an overall stealth system that is a lot more robust than the XCOM games, but that can also be a little bit more obtuse to figure out how to handle, at least at first, and a variety of different and very unique maps to find your way through and craft the perfect strategy for. To approach these maps, you have a variety of different abilities available to you. Your weapons have a bunch of different fire modes and other types of attacks, single shot, rapid fire, precision strikes, etc. And each of your characters will have a suite of abilities unique to them that you can use to further complement your hacking, your stealth, or your combat. Some characters will be able to apply poison to enemies, some characters with swords will be able to do teleport dashes to strike down priority targets, and many will be able to hack cameras, gates, pressure sensors, and mines to turn them off, set them off, or do other things to confound and confuse the enemy. This is where Cyberknights really starts to shine very quickly. Having an additional layer of hacking and manipulation of the battlefield due to the sort of cyberpunk setting that you exist in is super fun and very interesting. It's one of the areas of XCOM that always felt like it existed but was very lacking, with things like the gremlins and specialists being able to hack turrets and the like to get rewards, turn things on and off. It was there, but it was basic, and Cyberknights Flashpoint fleshes that out far, far more. Here it is a core aspect of the mechanics to the point that I really feel like I've barely even scratched the surface, especially when you get into actual cyberspace and are handling different nodes, turning on and off different aspects of the machinery, figuring out the different types of programs that you need to enable or disable enemy programs. There is a ton going on there that I really don't even feel like I fully understand yet, but I'm very excited to learn more about. On the base level combat map, however, this is very often going to turn into figuring out what timing you have to be able to temporarily disable a laser barrier so your characters don't take damage and alert the AI when they run through it, or disabling cameras so you don't get spotted and alert enemies around you. And this is where one of the biggest management aspects of the game's mechanics kicks in, managing the security alerts on any given map. As you spend time on a map, the security AI will become more and more aware of your presence, and any action that you take that could potentially alert a physical enemy or the AI itself will increase its security threat level. This can do a variety of different things, from most basic deployment of enemies who are already on the field to check out your last known position, up to and including full new mechanics like pressure sensors or the deployment of reinforcements that are very heavily armed and can tear you up extremely quickly if you're not already prepared for them. As such, moving quickly, quietly, and getting as many objectives completed as possible before the enemy knows you're there is vitally important, especially on higher difficulties, and it's part of the reason that Cyberknights stands out compared to a lot of other games in the genre. Of course, once you do get busted, you will have to get into some direct combat, and that's where flanking, grenades, medkits, and all the things you would normally expect do wind up coming into play and are very, very pertinent. And depending on how you've kitted out your party, you can choose to go loud a lot earlier in a mission and still find success, which is generally how I've been playing as I've been really kind of getting to understand how the systems work. Once you complete a mission, you'll find yourself back at base, and again, things should be quite familiar for anyone who's played XCOM 2 in particular. You'll be clearing out rooms, building new facilities to complement your income or the repair or healing or stress reduction of your party members. You'll be managing said party members by leveling them up, giving them different equipment, going to the fixer in the black market to get better guns, better restoratives, etc., and then having conversations and seeing story events that are going to progress not only your main story, but also any side quests to allow you to go go out, do more missions, get more loot, and continue to build your mercenary company. It's a very familiar and very satisfying loop, and while I've only played about the first 5 hours of Cyberknights, I'm already very much drawn into it. There's plenty of unique features here to make Cyberknights feel like it stands out and is not just derivative, while also being cozy and comfortable in the way that a lot of our favorite turn-based strategy games are due to the inspirations that they draw. As far as the visuals and the OST/SFX are concerned, everything in Cyberknights is certainly passable, if not outright good. This is not the most high-fidelity graphics game that you're going to play, but of course, as an indie title that's doing a lot mechanically, I really don't expect it to, and I don't think that's a major knock against it. Everything looks like you would expect it to look. The character models are fine, but the maps and the effects of different abilities, triggering, and the like are all very fun and certainly do their jobs. The OST does absolutely slap and has all of the cyberpunky synths and electronica notes that I would expect, and you can very easily differentiate different types of weapons, abilities, electronic effects, etc. based on what the actual sound effects for them sound like. Is it going to blow you away? No, but it does exactly what it needs to do to make the game work, and a lot of times that's the only thing that matters. Putting all these disparate aspects of Cyberknights Flashpoint together, I think that you have a very strong package here. I've mentioned it a couple of times, but there is absolutely a density of mechanics and a learning curve here that could potentially put some people off. But on the flip side, we're in a niche genre where people expect to spend a lot of time crunching numbers, learning menus, understanding mechanics, and trying over and over again with new campaigns and testing things out until they find that they're comfortable with it and can push forward with a complete campaign. And Cyberknights is no different in that regard, so I don't think that there's going to be that many people that bounce off of it too severely. And frankly, I think that's phenomenal for the game, because I can already tell there's a ton of depth to sink your teeth into here. Now that I've spent a good few hours with the game and I understand more what it is that I'm doing, I'm itching to get back in, start a fresh campaign on a higher difficulty, kit out a team in a more particular way for the way that I know I want to play, and then go in guns blazing and see just how many heists I can complete before inevitably some choom puts a bullet in the back of my skull. And nowadays, when we have more and more quality tactics and turn-based strategy titles entering the market, having a game that can actually put those hooks into you and keep you wanting to stick around and learn more is more valuable than ever. As a result, I would highly recommend that you check out Cyberknights Flashpoint if you have not already. Again, there is a link to its Steam page in the description here if any of it sounds interesting and you want to check it out for yourself. There is currently a discount going on at time of recording. I think a lot of you would have a great time with it. You just need to understand that you're not going to be going in and having quite as much direct gunplay as you would with something like XCOM. There's going to be a lot more stealth, manipulation, mechanics, and the like, but that's part of what makes the game so strong and feel like it's not just a clone. Huge shout out to Tracy Brothers for creating such a cool and unique title. I'm absolutely going to be keeping an eye on what they do going forward, especially with Cyberknights itself. And of course, we have a ton of other great games to cover as part of Turn-Based Thursday Fest as well, so keep it tuned here. Let me know your thoughts on Cyberknights as well as everything else that we're going to be covering here today. Thank you all so much for watching. My name has been Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman. I hope that you all have a good night. Stay safe and healthy out there, everybody. And remember, be good to each other, y'all. Bye now.